We're going to be looking at the Animate method next. The Animate method is an extremely sophisticated way that you can add animation to your pages, and you can do all kinds of things. It really rivals Flash in many ways. There's all sorts of interesting ways that you can animate various CSS properties that are assigned to an object on your page. So let's go ahead and let's just see how Animate can affect elements that are located on our page. This is what our web page looks like that we're going to start off with. It's our page that we've been working on, except I've stripped out all of the content except this for this image right here. So if we look at the HTML, you can see that I've gotten rid of everything except for my container div, which wrapped around the content in the previous exercises, and then I've just added a div with a class of image holder, and it just contains an image of the cherries. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to utilize this cherry image and make some changes using Animate. I'm going to come over here to my script file, and I just have the document ready function waiting for me, and we'll go ahead and we'll just define the jQuery object, and we'll go ahead and specify that we want to affect the div with a class of image holder so that jQuery knows what we want to animate. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the Animate Property, and we'll open a parenthesis and we'll open a curly brace here as well. And inside the curly brace we're going to be passing on the CSS properties that we want to animate, and we will specify them as key value pairs. This is very similar in the way in which we utilize multiple properties with the CSS function that we're already familiar with using. One thing that you need to keep in mind when you are working with the Animate function is you're going to need to make sure that all of the property names are written in camel case. So normally if I wanted to, for instance, animate the left margin, in CSS I would write margin left like this. When we're working with Animate in jQuery, I need to make sure that I camel case the information that I want to affect. So margin left would be written like this. So anything that you want to animate that normally has a hyphen, you would camel case it together. So just go ahead and keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and use margin left as an example for this first little run through, and I'm going to go ahead and put a colon after the CSS property, and then I'll go ahead and put the value. So we'll just put 400 pixels for this example, and the value actually needs to be in our quotes so that jQuery is aware that this is a actual literal value that I'm passing on. And once we have the quotes in place, I'll go ahead and I'll terminate my curly brace, and then I'm going to put a comma, and the next thing that I want to pass on is the duration. The duration is always given in milliseconds or with the key terms like slow, fast, ones that we've used, but we'll be using the actual value in this example. Higher values indicate slower animations, and lower values will indicate faster animations. If you do happen to use the key terms or key strings such as fast and slow, fast has a duration of about 200 milliseconds and slow has a duration of 600 milliseconds. We're going to use something much slower than slow, so I'm going to actually type in 3000 for our example here, and then I will close the parentheses and add a semicolon. I'm going to save this, and let's go ahead and refresh this page in the browser, and you can see that my cherries are going to slide across the page. If we open up Firebug, and I'm going to refresh the page one more time just so you can see what happens here, you can see that my image holder now has a style of margin left assigned to it, and as it actually animates across the page, this number is changing and updating until it gets to its final resting point of 400 pixels. So as you can see, this is an extremely powerful piece of information that we can go ahead and add in and specify a property's animation values, and we can go ahead and have really specific control over how something is going to move, show. I mean, you can animate just about anything. If you had a border on the image, you could animate the border. You can animate, obviously, the position like we did on the cherry image. Any CSS value that you can think of, you can pretty much assign animation to it.